Hello friends, this video suggests 6 ideas and calls them bad. Why would I do that? City finance directors and CFOs, an extremely reputable profession, work very hard to be good stewards. We want to make our cities better every bit as much as you do. When a faithful public servant finds the courage to deliver bad news, try to avoid punishing the messenger and instead hear the message. I really hope to save you some time and some heartache. Let's get to it. I'd like to dispense with what I think are 4 bad ideas that none of us would say out loud. At the end, I'll suggest 2 good ideas that you may also not want to hear. Let's start off with the good news. All of us, 100% of us, share the same goal. We can make our cities better. Those of us dedicated to serving others can absolutely accomplish good things. We can do it best by working together. In finance, where I joke that everything is just numbers on paper, I really do collaborate with knowledgeable folks from public works or parks or police or fire or wastewater, IT, HR, city clerk, you get the idea. City administrators marshal citywide resources to adapt to ever-changing circumstances within limited budgets and staff and materials. Our elected officials define policies and priorities. All the parts of the body working together can problem solve and see through to completion some things that truly do serve citizens well. So what's the problem? Money will fix every problem in this city, but there's not enough money. So blame the finance director. I'm kidding, of course. Actually, sometimes that is exactly the role of the finance director, to be the budget bad guy. There are cities where no one else will. But I think we all know there are more problems and more really commendable programs and truly beneficial ideas than there is money. We run up against that wall together. Actually, we all have twin goals of serving our taxpayers well, taking care of services and infrastructure, and not bankrupting the city. Okay, so to figure out how to solve our problem, let's see if we can eliminate the big 4 bad ideas. Raising taxes. I'll admit this is probably the second most honest way to propose raising revenue, though, for the city budget. City services pretty much have to match the city taxes and fees, so when there is pressure to increase services or maintain infrastructure better, raising taxes or fees is how to pay for more of what taxpayers are demanding. However, it's rare to put the question to voters, and it's not popular to ask, do you want to raise taxes or do you want to reduce services or defer maintenance? So I think we all know we should not suggest out loud that we raise taxes. Let's toss that idea and move on to the next bad idea. Now, there are very good reasons to utilize state and federal grants. As a finance director, I serve my taxpayers well when I put out every bucket that I can when it's raining state and federal money. That said, we have to be very careful we don't create a structural deficit, implementing programs or hiring staff that depend on outside money. And when you think about it, what are state grants except us using taxpayers in other cities to pay for something in our budget? Federal grants are using taxpayers in other states to fund our budget. If the money is going somewhere, it might as well go to us, except should the grants end, we find ourselves living beyond our means. I think we will never say out loud that we want to build a budget planning on money we can't depend on in the long term. Let's move on. Lodging tax, there's an interesting idea, and it's a popular one. People who don't live here can pay for some of our stuff. Lodging tax or hotel tax or transient occupancy tax, that's levied on people who by definition don't live in our jurisdiction. So there's good news and bad news here. The honest thing is at least we restrict it for tourism, attracting more lodging that produces more lodging tax. The bad news is that that ends up not being revenue we can use for our general fund, which is where we probably need more revenue the most. We aren't going to say out loud that we can't balance our budget without someone else helping us. That's awfully close to saying we can't live within our means. This one isn't going to get us where we need to go. This last idea is what a lot of folks call kicking the can down the road. There was a cartoon character in the 1960s that is still remembered today for saying, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. It's largely a misconception that debt pays for things. Debt is not a funding source. Debt doesn't pay for a new car at home We all know it's really our paycheck over the next 5 years that does that. Most cities are smart enough to not use debt as a credit card to fund operations. But it's very nearly the same thing if we defer maintenance or replacement in our budget. That's backwards, and having called it out, we can see pretty clearly that it's a bad idea. And we would not say that out loud, would we? Out this one goes, so what is a good idea? How about investing in quality services and infrastructure? Let's apply the lodging tax idea, using tax revenue to generate more revenue through building up a thriving economy. Rather than raising the tax rate, let's grow the underlying volume. When the economy is prospering at the same tax rate but at a greater volume, then our revenue will increase. By taking care of streets, signals, public safety, parks, code enforcement, that kind of thing, our property values rise and our commerce thrives. This means every single member of city staff and city council can make a difference in what they do by being effective and efficient. When businesses thrive, sales tax improves. When property values rise, property tax is stable. This may not be what you want to hear. This may sound too much like the tortoise and the hare, slowly and steadily winning the race, but I'll stand by it. Budget for contingencies. I'll mention one more thing that is unpopular. When revenue is scarce, who in their right mind will agree to leave some of it unspent? I'm suggesting that when we make every penny spoken for, it's really smart to designate some of the forecasted revenue for contingency, holding it back for later. Every quarter as the year plays out, I can guarantee we find out that the budget was 100% wrong in some revenue forecast or it failed to predict some need. One of the smartest things you can do is budget very deliberately spendable expense. Every time we balance a budget, spending every penny, we've painted ourselves into a corner where we depend on some unknown savings or some unknown revenue materializing favorably. The best way to be a more valuable public servant is to decide to seek the good of others, not yourself, putting others first. Our success lies in helping others succeed. That includes identifying bad budget ideas so we can all move on to good ones. This video aims to help you because it's your efforts that will contribute to the success of your city and make it a better place. Thanks for watching.